Alright, two things. So it seems like YouTube has demonetized me for this video before I dropped it, so I've had to re-upload it. But if you want to see the uncut and unblurred versions, then all you have to do is go into my Patreon. Link is in the description below. I'd be really grateful for your support. Number two, remember guys, I drop a beat from one of my favorite producers on YouTube every Sunday on my community's post. All you have to do is make a song with that beat, and I'll choose the best song in order to go into my GrimmRadio. However, from next week onwards, I will be reacting to the songs that you send me through this one beats that I posted on Sunday. Alright, let's start the video. On the 19th of March 2022, a rapper by the name of Baby Cino was released from the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center after posting bail. On the ride back home, a dark-colored car would pull up alongside and let out over 40 rounds of ammunition in the direction of Baby Cino. Baby Cino was pronounced dead on the scene. Just a few hours later, Akademiks would post Baby Cino on his Instagram account with over 4.7 million active users for the first time. 2 days after the post, Baby Cino's YouTube account would see a growth of close to 1,000 subs. But the most telling detail in his growth is that of his biggest song on the channel. Literally 2 days before the shooting while sitting in prison, his song, Big Haiti Shutters, had 23,000 views, probably mostly from ad placements. 2 days later, today, at the time of this recording, the song has over 123,000 views. That's a 500% growth in less than 7 days. Dallas, Texas, 10 November 2020. Rapper MO3 is tailed and ultimately shot in the head on the highway. Now, MO3 had quite a big following before this incident, with over 600,000 YouTube subscribers in July of the same year. However, the first time he was posted on Akademiks' page, you guessed it, November 10th, 2020. Now, it isn't just Akademiks though. XXL has posted rappers like Snooty Wild while only having posted him on sponsored posts before. Complex posting Slim 400 for the first time after his death on the 8th of December 2021, and many, many more. This got me thinking. Why? Why is it that some of these rappers are posted for the first time by these big media outlets only on the dates of their death? This got me into a huge realization that sent me down another train of thoughts. A rabbit hole of sorts.
Subscribe, motherfucker.
So now, we're all familiar with gang culture within hip-hop. For as long as there's been groups such as NWA and artists like Tupac who would speak on stories of gang culture, hip-hop has almost become synonymous with gangs and inner-city rivalry. The oldest known gang affiliation in hip-hop was Eazy-E's involvement in the Crips gang. However, gangs in the 80s and 90s were rivalries based on criminal enterprises and businesses. Now the problem is, one thing that nobody could have predicted was how much influence those gangster records would have on the youth. Stories of
First off, fuck your bitch in the clique you claim
has now turned into kids fighting over territory rather than criminal businesses. As if to say, fuck you for being on the other side, and that's just it. The war in Chirac documented the senseless GD and BD killings all in the name of one-upping each other. It's a sad reality, 16-year-old kids easily getting a hold of guns and killing each other just as a game. Now, Traplo Russ is a hip-hop YouTuber who has great stories and tidbits of hip-hop history. He's thorough in his research, and he also has this nerdy white boy look that juxtaposes his gritty hip-hop stories.
Because they should show some goddamn respect on my name like I'm Birdman.
In more recent times though, Russ has gone on to document the gang culture in hip-hop. It started with the documenting of the 6ix9ine saga, but since then, he's been making almost 2-hour documentaries about rappers and gangs and their ops. Now, documentaries like Russ's are these long, well-researched and amazingly told stories about disadvantaged youths that are steered on a violent path and somehow make it in the music industry. Here's the issue though. Let me tell you a story. My little brother is 13-year-old and both me and him don't necessarily come from soft life living. My brother recently watched the Murder in Montclair video about K-Flock and the Bronx Drill Street Gang. He was super interested in the antics K-Flock was pulling while spinning the block on live. I won't lie, man. It's super exciting to see that shit. I mean, look at this shit. Look.
Where my dad, the boys right there, look.
Nobody's running!
Nobody's running, the fuck, the boys right there. The boys right there, like, look. So come around the fucking block. Come around the fucking block. What are my dads up over the dodos right now, nigga? What are my dad mans, nigga?
Ironically, despite the hip-hop community being the driving force behind the Stop Snitching movement, rappers tend to snitch on themselves a lot.
My brother was glued to the screen. Now, I can appreciate how Trap Lord Ross makes his videos more about how they're messing up their lives and not breaking the cycle of violence in their neighborhoods.
And it's details like this that genuinely just increase my personal sympathy for the young teenagers that are losing their lives as part of this war. Because they really are often just being groomed into the gang lifestyle by older criminals from their neighborhood at a young age when they really don't know any better.
But my brother didn't care about that. In fact, he switched off the video at the end when Ross was talking about the fact that many people and kids have lost their lives due to the gang activity.
There's overwhelming grief following the death of 17-year-old Brandon Hendricks.
Outside his building tonight, candles glow in the shape of his initials, J.E.
Police say he was shot in the neck outside an apartment.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And that's the problem right there. Most disadvantaged youth look at the excitement of the rappers spinning the block and being kidnapped as a reality show that they'd like to emulate. And if they do so, they're rewarded greatly. I mean, look at this. These are music video numbers. Look, instant exposure. Now listen to me clearly. This is not Trap Lord Ross's fault. I repeat, this is not Trap Lord Ross's fault. Neither is a DJ Akademiks or Trap Geek for that matter. These guys are doing their job, reporting on what's going on in the culture. Ross is damn good at his job, but it's just the accumulation of all these videos and others that build the gang relationship with rap music. Now, I'd be a literal biatch if I didn't mention mainstream media. They are the blueprint of the current saga that we're facing. The unfortunate dangers and results of the media reporting on the violence in the streets creates a youth ready to gain instant exposure through this media. Think about Youngin Ace and the Who I Smoke saga. The song was already wild, but after watching dozens of videos about the war in Jacksonville, people scream Bibby louder just because they know now that Bibby was actually a real person. I don't have the answers on how to fix this mess, but reporting on it clearly doesn't help, even if it's reported in an apologetic manner, because the current youth doesn't care. All they want to do is be on that show and be talked about and be rewarded with viewers. I just don't believe that being in a gang or dying should be enough to get your first post on a huge media slot. That's just my opinion.
Bitch, I am broke. I ain't gon' trip. I show my Nikes, you asked for the whip. Had to pay rent. Told my landlord, little bitch, I spend all that shit on my drip. Suck on my dick, I bust on your lip. Do that little shit where you bounce on my D. I stepped in this beat with 2 fake IDs. My name's all I need, like doobie doobie. Smoke on my weed, doobie. I'm higher than canopy seasonal trees. Sip on that lean.
Walk.